Monaco is unique. For the tiny principality nestling on the Mediterranean join of France and Italy, yearly presents a motor racing extravaganza of unrivaled opulence with its spectacular circuit which twists and plunges around Monte Carlo in dazzling sunshine. And with the Monaco Grand Prix due to have started some 7 minutes ago, this is the dramatic scene in the tunnel underneath Lowe's Hotel, with Bernie Ecclestone, the head man of the Formula One Constructors Association, and Jody Scheckter, the head man of the Grand Prix Drivers Association, conferring about what to do about the start, because there is a real dilemma. Through the roof of the tunnel, from Lowe's kitchen above, water is pouring onto the track. So the drivers will be faced with the problem, if the race starts, and it's inconceivable to me that it could do so under present circumstances, of going from a totally dry track into a dark tunnel at 150 miles an hour plus, suddenly hitting a wet patch, a very limited area, and that could be, to put it very mildly indeed, suicidally dangerous. A real dilemma for the organisers then. And this looks like good news because obviously with Mario Andretti, the man who's just won at Indianapolis for the second time in his career, Patrick Tambay going out of picture there. There's Didier Pironi in the scarlet overalls, the Ferrari number 2 driver to Gilles Villeneuve. There's Peter Collins, the Lotus team chief, Alan Rees, all the notables of Grand Prix Driving Association, Francois Mazet going out of picture. As I said, all the notables of Grand Prix world now are coming, hopefully, out into the pits area to get their cars ready. That is Lowe's Hotel in the centre of your picture, the cause of all the problems. Through Casino Square, down past the nightclubs, into a 450-yard tunnel, out along the harbour front, past a great flotilla of magnificent yachts, Its unrelenting 2-mile challenge puts driver concentration and accuracy and a car's staying power at a premium. And for round 6 of the World Championship, last year's Monaco winner Carlos Reutemann heads the table with a commanding lead of 12 points over Nelson Piquet, who's only 4 ahead of the reigning world champion Alan Jones. Between them, these three have won every Grand Prix this year, but race by race, the turbo Ferraris of Villeneuve and Pironi have been getting stronger and stronger, and Monaco just could be their first win. For Villeneuve was second fastest in practice, just 7/100ths of a second behind Piquet. But the sensation of practice was Britain's Nigel Mansell, an astounding third fastest for his first Monaco Grand Prix in the new Lotus 87, ahead of Reutemann, Patrese and his teammate De Angelis, with Alan Jones only 7th. But Monaco, with its 76 laps and 156 miles of acceleration, braking and unforgiving barriers, is a race of attrition, where reliability counts just as much as speed. It would seem that there is unhappiness amongst the drivers, because it is significant that Watson and Siegfried Stohr, who is talking agitatedly, having completed his usual pre-race meditation, he's a yoga follower. There's Villeneuve in the middle of your picture, the man behind the man with the glasses. Ken Tyrrell in the blue shirt and the horn rim glasses. Elio De Angelis right in the centre of picture now. Now Riccardo Patrese profile to us now. Obviously a consultation now and some kind of driver briefing, I guess. James, what do you think is happening down there?
Well, I would think, I mean, there are precedents with situations of sort of marginal safety and things like that. I would think that some of the drivers are unhappy about the condition of the tunnel. They feel that it's not safe to start. So I think really that from what I could see on TV, it's a situation where they're going to have to run.
Nelson Piquet has imperturbably sat in his car all through this, and the grid is clearing. You can see it. I can see. I'm sitting just the other side of that knot of people. The grid is clearing, and that is Elio De Angelis. We're going up the grid now. Elio De Angelis is 6th fastest in the Lotus 87. The next man you'll see is Riccardo Patrese, the lap record holder, 5th fastest in practice in his Arrows. Now Carlos Reutemann leading the World Championship in the Williams car, in that distinctive balaclava of his. And now the sensation of practice, Nigel Mansell in the Lotus 87, the man from Hall Green, Birmingham, number 12, is only his 8th Grand Prix, 3rd quickest, an incredible achievement. Gilles Villeneuve in the turbocharged Ferrari, how is he going to get away at the start? 1 minute 25.788 seconds, but the fastest time was that of Nelson Piquet, the next man in your picture, number 5, in the Ford V8 powered Brabham, 1 minute 25 seconds, 0.710. And so Derek Ongaro is the man that is starting the Monaco Grand Prix. I can still see cars in the background coming up with Nelson Piquet on the left, Gilles Villeneuve on the right. In the background, in the centre, is Carlos Reutemann. On the left of Piquet, number 12, the blue, silver and red Lotus 87 of Nigel Mansell. And watch for Sainte Devote. Villeneuve second, Mansell third, Reutemann in fourth position, and it looks as though we're getting go at Sainte Devote, and thank heavens we are. It's Piquet, Villeneuve, Mansell is third, Reutemann is fourth, Jones is in fifth position, and that's the first hurdle successfully, and thank heavens cleared. No trouble there. We missed that, a wheel off. And it virtually looks like one of the Marlboro cars or one of the Alfa Romeo cars, the red and white, and debris all over the circuit. Out come the marshals. They're marvellously slick here at Monaco. I spoke too soon when I said that we had got a go at Sainte Devote. It looks like Sura and Michele Alboreto. It is. Now watch them. It's Sura on the right in the ensign, the man who just qualified for the race. Michele Alboreto on the right. Somebody is crossing it, and there. It's the cars in front of them. And it must be, I suspect it's De Cesaris in the Marlboro car. And in front of Cesaris, it's probably Bruno Giacomelli. That's a guess.
I was just looking then, we were past that information, but as I watched the cars go across, I think it was Andretti who's out. I saw Giacomelli driving. So I think you'll find it was De Cesaris and Andretti.
So, Mansell third, number 12 in the new Lotus 87, only his 8th Grand Prix, third in practice, third in the race, and he was third at Belgium. And obviously, what they have, this is a replay. There you saw the marshal. Now, that's Mark Sura on the right. Let's try and identify which of the cars it is. Because Bruno Giacomelli is number 23. It was Mario Andretti hitting the barrier, and Andrea De Cesaris. That's positive identification. There's Mario Andretti out of the race, the man who has just won at Indianapolis only last weekend. A brilliant success in his 41st year, the oldest driver in the race. Very unhappily out of this with that first lap crash. Now, there's the battle for second place, and it's still Villeneuve, Mansell, Reutemann, Jones and Patrese. Those cars, 5 of them, absolutely together. Piquet is breaking away, gaining on Sura, and as James says, it looks as though that wetted area in the tunnel is reducing in size. Sura through the chicane. Piquet gaining on him. Now look, watch for the gap to see what happens. It was 2.4 seconds between Piquet and Villeneuve. There's Villeneuve in the background. There's Sura and Piquet together.
Well, of course, Sura should let Piquet past, and all the others for that matter, pretty quickly. He should know that they're there and see him in the mirrors. Of course, if he doesn't do that, he's going to undo all Piquet's hard work, because it won't take long to catch up. But I think he's letting him through. Is he? No, yes, he is. Fairly complicated way of doing it. They'd rather pressure on it. Perhaps he'll be a bit more convenient with the others when they come up to that.
And I see Jones is missing. I can only see one Williams car down there. I assume it's Jones. We'll have to check. This is dramatic on the 14th lap. One of the Williams cars is missing on lap 14 out of 76. Villeneuve there is in second place. Piquet has gone through in the lead, and that's the answer. It's Reutemann. It's Reutemann, not Jones. I just saw a white Williams car. Reutemann with his wings up top. I said that if a driver allows his concentration to flag for a minute, there's trouble, but I suspect that Reutemann was hit by that.
I think that might have happened at the station hairpin, Barney. I saw Mansell appear to miss a gear or have a little bit of trouble. He suddenly didn't accelerate, just as he was expected to go out of the corner. And I think Reutemann may have made contact with his back wheel with his front wing, which is why the gap to Villeneuve developed a little bit. And that would be a great shame for Carlos Reutemann, but I think they just changed the nose, get him back out in the race pretty quickly.
And Elio De Angelis up a place. Now we're getting the race developing. There is Alan Jones through, and Alan Jones is now in 4th position. Jones 4th. Behind Jones is still Riccardo Patrese, but Elio De Angelis has moved up a place. There's Villeneuve 2nd through the chicane. Jones 3rd, and Jones looks to be good. Riccardo Patrese is 4th. De Angelis is in 5th position. The World Championship leader, Carlos Reutemann, on lap 15 in the pits, having a new nose cone fitted.
Well, Nigel Mansell's gone missing. I don't know. I didn't see what happened to him. It could, of course, be connected with it appeared to be car trouble that he was having at the hairpin when Reutemann hit him, if that's what did happen to Reutemann. So possibly Mansell's had some mechanical trouble, but as far as the moment he's gone missing, and I don't know why.
Well, bitter hard luck for Nigel Mansell. There he is, and that was him going out of the pits. Nigel Mansell leaving the pits as I talk to you, and Carlos Reutemann and Starr leaving the pits as the rest of them screen through, and the positions on lap 16 out of 76 with the leader of the World Championship, Carlos Reutemann, and that is Nigel Mansell in the pits. So it must have been, I can't understand that because I saw a car, he must have been going into the pits, I apologise. And there is the answer, Nigel Mansell having a new near side rear wheel fitted to his new Lotus 87, and on lap 16 out of 76 with, as ever, a very cool Nigel Mansell getting the go signal from Bob Dance. We look at Gilles Villeneuve in 2nd place behind Nelson Piquet. In 3rd position it is not Mansell anymore, of course. Alan Jones goes up into 3rd position. Patrese into 4th. De Angelis into 5th. And Jacques Lafitte comes onto the leaderboard in 6th position. Now look to see how far Villeneuve and Jones are behind. That's the gap, 8.7 seconds between Piquet and Villeneuve. And Jones is ahead. Alan Jones has got through unseen. What a pity we missed that. Alan Jones has somehow scrambled past Gilles Villeneuve. Could it be, James, do you think, that Villeneuve's tyres might be going off?
No, I think probably, it's a pretty much of a handful, that turbocharged car, to get around a course like this. I don't think Villeneuve in any trouble. I think he qualified the car exceptionally well. They have to carry more fuel than the Cosworth engine cars to do the race, so it's not surprising that the car isn't quite as quick as Jones's car, but that must have been a fine effort by Jones to get past Villeneuve, unless of course Villeneuve helped him with a mistake. I suspect he must have done it down at Mirabel after coming well out of the Casino Square, because that's about the only chance. Anyway, Jones now has a chance. We can check gaps, and we're going to see how he sets about Piquet, because now the real challenge is on.
And the gap is being checked now by me. It is 9 seconds. So although Alan Jones fighting as ever a tremendously determined race, the man Alan Jones, who comes from Glenburn in the state of Victoria in Australia, is now in 2nd position. He's on his way to 6 World Championship points if he keeps going, and he needs every one of them to close the gap between himself and his teammate Carlos Reutemann, who is effectively out of the points running at the present moment, way down in 15th position. Alan Jones pulling away from Villeneuve, and Villeneuve is being leaned on by Riccardo Patrese in the Orange Arrows car, who is in 4th position. There's Jones into the tunnel. Villeneuve next.
Yes, this is the Jones overtaking thing, and this is an excellent piece of driving. The road's very narrow there. Villeneuve's leaning on him. He's moving in to give him as little space as possible, and Jones stuck with it. That was both brave and skillful.
Nelson Piquet is in the lead from Alan Jones. In 3rd position now is Riccardo Patrese. 4th is Villeneuve. 5th is De Angelis. And in 6th position it is Jacques Lafitte. The sun continues to shine. The circuit is still dry. Piquet crossing the line, completing lap 26, and the gap now between Piquet and Jones is continuing to come down. It's just over 7.5 seconds. Jones is gaining on Piquet, and Patrese, with Villeneuve dropping back behind him, the Ferrari or Villeneuve is in some kind of trouble, and with Villeneuve in 4th fourth position. Elio De Angelis in the remaining Lotus 87 is gaining on Villeneuve, who's in third position. Well ahead of Pironi. Ricardo Patrese has crashed on the exit to Casino Square, but looks perfectly all right. We've seen him getting out of the car, and that means the back into third position has gone to Gilles Villeneuve. Up into fourth place has gone Elio De Angelis in the Lotus 87. In fifth position, and seemingly a lap adrift, is Jacques Lafitte in the Talbot. In sixth position now is René Arnoux in the Renault, followed by the seventh place man John Watson in the Marlboro MP4, and in eighth position Alain Prost. As though René Arnoux is out of the race. As I talk, I look at the monitor. The gap between the race leader Piquet and Jones is still over 7 seconds, just under 7.5 seconds. René Arnoux is out of the race, and so is De Angelis. Elio De Angelis has just coasted up to the Armco and is out of the race, and it's on the pit section. He's actually parked almost very close to his own pit, and he's getting out of the car, and that means that on lap 34 out of 76, Piquet leads. Alan Jones is in second position. Third place is still Villeneuve. Up into fourth position now in the Talbot Metra, Jacques Lafitte. In fifth position, John Watson in the Marlboro MP4, and he's in the World Championship point scoring place there. And in sixth place, Alain Prost. Lost it at the right-hander at the Mirabeau. Cheever's lost it, and Piquet goes on his way, of course. My mistake. Cheever lost his car, and the engine's dead, and it looks as though he's out of the race.
Yes, Pironi's been trying to get past Cheever for a long, long time. He got inside him then. I thought Cheever's been holding up a bit naughtily. He went to shut the door. Pironi gave him a little bit of nudge on his back, just enough to spin him round, and that's put him well out of contention now.
And I would suspect that Cheever's put himself in line for disqualification from all the manhandling that his car was given, as one of the stricken cars is craned off. That will be De Angelis' car. Look at a replay of Eddie Cheever and Pironi. Cheever moves across Pironi's line and loses it altogether, and masterly recovery by Didier Pironi with one of the Marlboro cars behind him, and that was Nelson Piquet behind the Marlboro car. So Cheever very nearly might have brought Piquet's race to an end. Jones we're looking at, second place. In third position, it is still Ferrari of Gilles Villeneuve. Patrick Tambay in the Theodore in front of Nelson Piquet, and Jones is right with him. You can't separate them by the stopwatch. Tambay's going to move over and let them through.
Jones has really got the bit between his teeth now. It's funny, when Jones really gets through, you can tell by his driving style. He's had an area of his driving he's developed only over the last couple of years, and he's now a really top-class attacking driver, and he's going to, believe you me, after the situation, the emotional situation that exists between the two, he looks like he's going to attack to me.
Well, let's sit back and watch it as they pass Patrase's stricken arrows, the car that was third. The battle for leadership on lap 40 of the 39th Monaco Grand Prix. Round the station hairpin together. Piquet and Jones into the portier together.
Yeah, what Jones is going to try and do, run a good lap with no track marker in front. Get a good run out of the casino square, and I would think that he will try and attack Piquet down the inside when he gets the right opportunity into the Mirabeau corner as they come out of the casino square down the hill. That's where he'll have to do it, exactly as he passed Villeneuve earlier in such excellent fashion.
Alain Prost in the second Renault has joined his teammate René Arnoux out of the race apparently, and Alan Jones right back with Piquet. Prost out of the race, was in 6th position, and that lets up into 6th position now. One of the most worthy men in motor racing, Patrick Tambay, the enormously likeable Frenchman in the Theodore car, Teddy Yip's car, is up into 6th place. That's one of the Tyrrell cars. And in front of him, it is Bruno Giacomelli, and it's, as you see, Saint Devant. Bruno Giacomelli has run off, and Saint Devant and the Tyrrell with him. I think it's Eddie Cheever's Tyrrell, and they're in exactly the same position. There's Alboretto's Tyrrell, and they're in exactly the same positions where the trouble was earlier on in the race, as Eddie Cheever is approaching Saint Devant now. That's the teammate of Alboretto. This is lap 52, and the cars you are looking at are Michele Alboretto's Tyrrell, the blue car, as over the line go Piquet and Jones, and they are approaching Saint Devant. You're looking, there's Piquet through, and now watch this replay as Alboretto goes through and loses it to Saint Devant. Alboretto losing his car. This is a replay, and into him goes Bruno Giacomelli's Alfa Romeo, and that means that both those cars are obviously out of the running. Alboretto lost it, Bruno Giacomelli hit it, and there was nothing that he could do about it, and passed them successfully, completing the lap, and into this one have gone the race leader Nelson Piquet and Alan Jones. And on lap 53 in this incident-packed Monaco Grand Prix, it's Nelson Piquet still leading the race with the tremendously fast recovery system that they have here at Monaco, quickly craning Bruno Giacomelli's broken Alfa Romeo off the circuit. The situation is unchanged because Nelson Piquet is still leading in the Brabham on lap 54 out of 76, but that's Piquet! You've joined us at a tremendously dramatic moment because Piquet is clearly out of the race into the Armco. My goodness, what excitement at Monaco. We've just seen Alboretto go off. We have seen Giacomelli go off. Nigel Mansell has gone out of the race. So has Carlos Reutemann. So has Riccardo Patrese. But this is the most exciting thing of all, as a heartbroken, distraught Nelson Piquet, the man who was leading this race and coolly holding off Alan Jones, has gone straight into the Armco. He's been harried for lap after lap by Alan Jones, and clearly the pressure has got to him, or there was some small problem with the car, but for whatever reason, Nelson Piquet out, and now Alan Jones is into the lead on his way to 9 points, and yet another victory for the Saudi Leyland Williams team, who won at South Africa the non-championship race, who won at Long Beach with Alan Jones, who won at Brazil with Reutemann, who won in Belgium with Reutemann. Reutemann leading the World Championship with 34 points. Nelson Piquet was second.
Well, it's very bad luck on Nelson Piquet, but unfortunately, because that was a clear case of a mistake under pressure. Obviously, he's under a lot of pressure to get past the back markers.
Giri compiuti, Jones in testa davanti a Villeneuve.
Here we're going to see it again. He wants to get past as quickly as possible, and there are two of them there fighting with each other, which of course complicates it, but he really should hang back and make a space. I see no reason. He may in fact have started to knock his brakes by very unluckily having his right-hand front tyre on the white line. He's not quite as much grip on the white line. See the dotted line on the road, and that of course locks the wheel, and then there's no grip and he can't turn into the corner. But he was... He's been looking a bit panicky ever since Jones caught him up, both in all of his driving, and he was definitely in too much of a rush to get past then. And he's made for what for him is a very, very certainly a rare pressure mistake. He's always been very good like that, but it's been a hard couple of weeks for him, and he has, I think, built himself up into a fairly distraught mental state, and I think that was reflected in his driving today.
And the nouveau leader, the new leader, Alan Jones, will be a very, very happy man. Having pressured Nelson Piquet for lap after lap, he of course knows that he's out of the race because he's seen the Brabham stuffed into the Armco. He's probably even seen it being eased off lap after lap as he's gone past it. And now, number one, appropriately the world champion, which is why he carries number one, Alan Jones, who comes from Glenburn in Victoria in Australia, is, in spite of his badly burnt leg, as the result of having installed it by boiling water from the engine when he went off in the Belgian Grand Prix. Alan Jones now has got 19 laps to go at the end of this one. 19 laps each, 2.06 miles long. And once again, the determination, the sheer grit, the driving skill and the tactics of Alan Jones, allied to the legendary reliability of the Williams car, is paying off. You can see that Lafitte is in third position behind Villeneuve, who's now up to second. That in fourth position is the second Ferrari of Didier Pironi, so it's a good day for Ferrari. Cheever in fifth position, and then Patrick Tombe in the Theodore. Jones is in trouble. Jones is in trouble. Villeneuve is gaining. Jones has badly missed a gear. Look at him going up the hill from Sainte-Avotte. It looks as though the Monaco Grand Prix is going to finish on an even more exciting note than we expected. And Jones is coming. He's got some kind of engine trouble, I suspect. It was missing terribly badly. And Gilles Villeneuve is gaining on him hand over fist once again. It's going to be a dramatic finish to the Monaco Grand Prix. I thought it was all over, bar the shouting. And there goes Jones, and here's Villeneuve. It looks as though Alan Jones is going to lose the lead on the 68th lap. Well, can Villeneuve get past Jones, because Jones most certainly knows the position. Jones is most certainly not going to be harried by Villeneuve and allow himself to be distressed as Piquet, the Brazilian, was. Alan Jones will doubtfully stick to his line, and Villeneuve will really have to push to get past the Australian. And Alan Jones, the world champion, is coming up to La Rascasse on lap 72 out of lap 76. There are still 2.06 miles to go, as almost together the Williams and the Ferrari come up to complete another lap. And Villeneuve through. Villeneuve is through. What an absolutely fantastic manoeuvre. I am going hoarse with excitement, and it's no wonder. That was the most incredible passing manoeuvre. Gilles Villeneuve did it.
Obviously, Alan's in trouble because Villeneuve just drove past him on the straight, so I think Alan must have some sort of mechanical trouble or be down on power, because that shouldn't normally happen.
Oh my goodness, what a Monaco Grand Prix, and Alan Jones is fighting back. Lap 73, and Villeneuve using every ounce of every mouse power in that tremendously powerful Ferrari engine. Surged past on the entry to Saint-Devote. Jones could do nothing about it, and it is possible, indeed likely, that in its first year of Grand Prix racing, the turbocharged Ferrari is going to win. It didn't start at South Africa, and Villeneuve had a series of non-finishes because he didn't finish at Long Beach, he didn't finish at Argentina, he didn't finish in Brazil, and then he went on at San Marino to finish in 7th position after leading the race for quite a long time. He finished 4th in the Belgian Grand Prix, and now he's on his way to victory if he can just hold his position.
Tragic shame for Alan. Here I think we're seeing a replay of how it happened. You see Villeneuve was well behind Alan and just romped past him on the straight. So obviously Alan had it could be a fuel pickup problem. They may have a block valve or something in the tanks, and the particular characteristics of the corner slosh it about La Rascasse in such a way that he can't pick any fuel up. Anyway, tragic stuff for Alan Jones. He's driven a magnificent race, a very brave race, but he's obviously been in agony from his burnt leg. It's raw rubbing on the side of the cockpit, and absolutely heartbreaking to be beaten by a small mechanical failure at the last minute.
That's the signal that you have one lap to go to your 5th Grand Prix victory. The man who was second in the 1979 World Championship, who this year has had a run, as I said, of non-finishes, comes round the Hotel de Paris for the last time. The ex-Canadian snowmobile and Formula Atlantic champion, who first drove in Formula One in 1977 for Brabham, in his 54th Grand Prix, and it's going to be his 5th Grand Prix victory, surely. Because exciting as Monaco always is, it seems inconceivable that there could be yet another excitement in the form of Villeneuve going out on the last lap.
Sad thing is that if it is a fuel pickup problem with Jones's car, the fact that he went into the pits, which was the quick thing to do when he heard it stutter, has probably cost him the race, because had he stayed out and they find that there's plenty of fuel still in the car, he might have limped home to victory. But that will be just one of fate's terrible quirks. I said Alan was having a pretty unlucky season right now, and that would be pretty ironic if that was the case. I'm only speculating, of course, but it's quite likely that is the problem. Something to do with fuel.
And in the closing stages of the closing lap, Round Loresca, he can almost push the clutch home and coast in now. Gilles Villeneuve is the Ferrari mechanics are already out in the road, and Villeneuve is accelerating away, and Gilles Villeneuve in the Ferrari wins the Monaco Grand Prix. One of the most exciting we've seen in a succession of exciting Grand Prix. Alan Jones, there he is, coming, and you can see what problems he's in by the fact that Patrick Tambay is with him in his wheel tracks as the victorious Gilles Villeneuve completes his 77th lap, which is his victory lap. One of the most exciting Monaco Grand Prix for years and years finishes then with victory for Gilles Villeneuve. Alan Jones in second place, Jacques Lafitte in the Talbot Matra, a worthy third ahead of the fourth man Didier Pironi, with Eddie Cheever and Mark Surer getting World Championship points for 5th and 6th position. And that means that as far as the World Championship is concerned, Carlos Reutemann is now 10 points ahead of his teammate, World Champion Alan Jones.
voitures au départ, qui ont deux voitures à l'arrivée. Je vous donne rapidement le classement. Villeneuve, 39 secondes et 76 centièmes d'avance sur Alan Jones, deuxième. Troisième, Jacques Lafitte sur la Talbot Ligier Chitan Matra. À un tour en quatrième position. Sur la seconde Ferrari. Avec deux tours la cinquième place. Eddie Schiller et la sixième. Avec deux tours de retard. Le 14 sur Inside. Et avec 4 tours de retard. Septième du classement. Le 33, Patrick Tambay sur la Moulin Rouge. Le meilleur tour pour Jones en 1:27.470 au 45e passage. Et 48e passage à 136 km 311. Eh bien, ce sera une consolation pour Alan Jones d'avoir établi ce meilleur tour en 1:27.470. 18 ou 470, ça n'est pas le record de la piste. Il reçoit des mains de son Excellence, Monsieur le Ministre d'État, la coupe. Enfin, nous avons eu l'hymne italien pour Ferrari, le concurrent qui a engagé les voitures, l'hymne canadien pour la victoire de Gilles Villeneuve, qui va maintenant recevoir des mains de Jean-Marie Dubois le triple magnum Pointe-et-Chandon, qui va saluer ce succès en terre monégasque.
Fastest lap went to Alan Jones, 1:27.470, 84.7 miles an hour, 48 left. Lap 48, Alan Jones, 27.470, 84.7.
La coupe a été remise par son Excellence le ministre d'État, M. Sableux. L'équipe Ferrari avait mis deux voitures au départ, elle a deux voitures à l'arrivée, avec le vainqueur Gilles Villeneuve et avec Didier Pironi. C'est elle qui est la seule à avoir, sur deux voitures au départ, à avoir deux voitures à l'arrivée. Je rappelle que les concurrents ont terminé à 3 dans le même tour. Le vainqueur Gilles Villeneuve, suivi en deuxième position par Alan Jones, qui a dû s'arrêter pour refaire de l'essence alors qu'il était en tête, qui a ensuite perdu son avance et qui a été dépassé de façon absolument sensationnelle et spectaculaire par Gilles Villeneuve. La troisième place revenant à Jacques Lafitte.